Hi guys! Mary's here. Do you also have an army that you like, but are not satisfied with how it's painted? Or do you want to improve the look of your army in a very short time? Today we'll talk how to turn a well-painted army into an awesome painted army using the stippling technique. Claudia previously painted Imperial Feasts using this technique. The result of her work was documented in a video on our channel. If you haven't seen it yet, you must check it out.
Hey, I'm Chris. I'm gonna show you the stippling technique. It's faster and easier to learn than blending, and in my opinion it provides very quality results, especially if you like the weathered look and painting a lot of armor like Space Marines and such.
I will use preferably Ultramarines as an example. I'm using our recent purchase as an excuse to show you stippling. I bought an army in already a pretty decent painting standard, but I decided to improve the army's quality while making it reasonable time-wise. The main advantage of the army after the makeover is that it is far more visible from a distance, eye-catching with better contrast building up the model's volume.
So, about the stippling, how do I feel about the stippling? It's easy to learn, it's main advantage of it. Of course, every technique needs some courage, you need to practice, and you need to get experience, but it is still much faster to learn than, for example, blending, that is most common technique using for higher quality painting. Also, it's very good to provide the weathered look. So if you are into like grim dark or just like the rusty style, but still want to make it more visible from a distance, it's a technique for you.
It's good for weathered look, but also works with colors, so I can add some cartoony look if desired. It's fast, very coherent. Coherency is very important when you paint small models like infantry and tanks, and frequently techniques used doesn't provide similar look. For example, you can airbrush tanks, airbrush infantry, but they may look very different from each other because they have different type of surface, different angles that reflect lights, but in case of stippling it's very coherent. When to use? It's very good for painting weathered armor, especially colorful ones. So of course Space Marines, but also orcs and frankly anything that has a lot of armor plates. It can be even, Eldari or some Slaves to Darkness or some armies from fantasy. How to do? You need a brush. I would recommend using old used one or just cheap synthetic one, preferably rather small size, let's say number 1 or 2, and paint. You should use thicker paints. Also, using thicker paints provide additional texture, and with weathered look, texture is desired. And as a main instruction, you should do a base coat or priming, and after the initial base coating you should add several layers, let's say around 4 layers, each one with slightly less surface and slightly different. You can go from darker to bright, or like in case of Ultramarines, I started with dark blue and I proceed with brighter color every next step. But you can do it in reverse, so start with bright surface and then add up darker one, or you can even try another colors. So for example, you can go from red to green or whatever. What is very important is every next layer should occupy slightly less space than the previous one, so it will create a gradient. This technique is chaotic, guys. In terms of brush strokes, don't try to make it neat.
But what's the difference between stippling and blending? Claudia will show you the difference. Blending in painting is a technique involving smoothly merging colors on canvas to achieve a gradient effect or fluid transitions between them. It is often used to achieve more subtle, realistic effects and color transitions. Artistically, this involves mixing paints on the canvas or applying them in a way that blurs distinct boundaries between them. The technique we use can be called stippling. However, it is combined with a delicate dry brush to achieve more texture. You can use thicker or thinner paint for this purpose. Thinner paint results in a more fluid effect because you can apply it in layers, while thicker paint creates a more patchy effect. The technique involves placing paint dots in irregular places. We're not aiming for smooth transitions here, but rather emphasizing texture and color intensity. This technique looks great on elements that naturally have some texture, such as rusty metal armor. The density of the paint also allows us to achieve much brighter colors. As Chris mentioned earlier, stippling is a very quick technique. To demonstrate how fast it is, he painted one of his Space Marines along with a stopwatch. It took less than 10 minutes to paint one mini. It's really quick. Before we move on to the next part of the video, I present to you your favorite Polish teacher, Paweł.
Hello dear students, welcome on our next lesson. A word for today is smurf. It means a smurf. I repeat, smurf.
Thank you, Paweł. Now, let's talk about the stippling. This technique is so simple that anyone can quickly learn it. Let us introduce our brave volunteer, Artur. He's our modeler, so he doesn't paint figures on a daily basis. Claudia explains to him the technique and how he should approach the painting. Now it's Artur's turn. He starts shyly, but Claudia guides him and gives him tips. Artur adds the second and third colors, and the color starts to gain depth. Looks nice! Claudia is pleased with her student.
As an additional polishing step, I rework metallics. A good trick to improve your metallic painting is to wash metallics, and after they are washed or glazed, you can add some edges or highlights with fresh paint. In this case, it is more about the side grade, as I just didn't like the warm gold together with ultramarine blue. In my honest opinion, Decayed bronze look much better. And what do you think, guys?
Now, when we've finished, let's see before and after comparison. Thank Thank you so much for watching. If you liked today's video, don't forget to press the like button, and if you're new and want to see more of our videos, don't forget to subscribe our channel. And leave the comment down below with the word you learned today. And also don't forget to check out our store if you want to have a unique and one-of-the-kind army. See you next time!